messages, emails, scheduling, shooting, editing, delivery, all aspects of this business I've been doing by myself, just alone in my room for a lot of it, for eight and a half years. And that's just not sustainable.
This is the Suino Creative Podcast. I'll be your host, professional photographer and video content creator, Brian Suino. In this podcast, we will discuss all parts of business, marketing, mindset, creativity, and self-improvement. Sometimes with the help of a special guest to provide some incredible outside perspective.
For going on 9 years now, I've been doing photography and video production. Almost 4 of those years have been as a full-time creative after I left my job to pursue my passions as my career. I've had this Suino Creative Podcast for around 2 years, and in that time, I've moved from one space to another studio space, and there's a ton of other things that have happened and changed as well. My goal with this podcast this year is to be consistent. One of my favorite things to do is share knowledge that I've learned with other people and have conversations with other creatives and other business owners. And this podcast is the best outlet for both of those things to happen at the same time. And I look forward to doing more and more of that this year, 2025. It's already here. If you're interested in photography, video production, or any and all parts of running a business, marketing, all those things, then hit the subscribe button and stay up to date with new episodes as they come out. On this episode that you're currently watching, listening to, whatever you're doing with this, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a recap of 2024 and then looking ahead to 2025. So 2024 started by us settling into this new office space. We moved in here at the very end of 2023. I was super excited and very nervous to finally take the step of getting a big space that we could not only use to set up a studio like this, but also have a place where I was actually excited to be here and being able to create and work here. Not too long after the year started and we started settling in here, my good friend Nathaniel Maddox, who owns another production company called Slate and Glass, you'll hear me talk about them a lot. We'll also have Nathaniel coming up on the podcast, hopefully very soon. He approached me with the idea of helping them produce a Netflix-style docuseries, which is an episodic documentary, essentially, of the reopening of our local racetrack, I-44 Speedway. With production companies and photography business especially, the first few months of the year are typically a little slower, given the cold. No one wants to go outside and shoot photos whenever they're freezing. And we had a little bit more free time on our hands. I say that in air quotes because when you own your own business, you really very rarely have free time. There's always something to be done, something that needs to be edited, one of those things, something on the back end. There's always something. So we decided to make a commitment to film it in hopes that the project can be good enough that it would be able to be sold to a distribution company like Hulu, Netflix, one of those. Get it on a national and potentially global platform. I really, really like working with Nate and his team because they're all in it for the same reason, which is to always be learning and getting better at the craft itself, not just going after money, like nothing's a cash grab with them. In my opinion, money is a byproduct of doing the things that you love with the best intentions, rather than just doing things to make money itself. Of course, you have to have money to survive these days, but if you're getting into especially a creative field and you're doing it for anything other than the love of it, you're going to set yourself up for failure, in my opinion. We spent several months filming this show. We ended up with about 20 to 30 terabytes of footage, which is nuts. And we potentially will have a show ready to approach some of these bigger companies at the middle of this year. And we're all extremely excited about it. The story and the characters of the show exceeded everything that we thought we would be able to capture. So regardless really of what happens with it, obviously we want it to go on and be a successful thing and sell it and make money off of it and do all the cool things. We're all super happy with the process, and I'm super grateful to have been involved in something this scale and this fun to do. my business specifically picked up during those months of filming. So I was kind of juggling the increasing volume of photo and video clients and that big project, and also got to work with Nate and his team on some other projects like a TV show, going to a couple different states to film. And in late 2024, I got to fly to Arizona to shoot a piece for one of the global companies they work for, which was an incredible experience. Can't say thank you enough to Nathaniel for having me and helping me. All the while, I'm taking on some of the biggest projects that I've ever taken on with my own business and getting the most amount of messages that I've been able to receive, and handling everything to do with this business, from messages, emails, scheduling, shooting, editing, delivery, all aspects of this business I've been doing by myself, just alone in my room for a lot of it, for eight and a half years. And that's just not sustainable whenever you're looking to scale and grow a business. So this all led to me working every single day, other than 1 week we took to go to vacation in Florida in June, from about March or April until the end of 2024. So I say that not to talk good about how much I work or how much I'm putting into this, but I've definitely come into the realization to where if I want to keep increasing what I can do with this business, then I need to have some help. I actually really hope that I can find the clip from an episode of this podcast that I did last year around this same time, where I talked about wanting to hire my sister-in-law, Bethany, to handle some of the back end of my business so that I could focus more on the part that I like to do and that I'm the best at, which is the creating part. We talked about that in that podcast, and if I can find it, I'll put it in here. I have to find ways to address that problem, and I've trying to put in implementing certain things. I have my sister-in-law, Bethany. She is the office manager for a business here in town, and I'm looking at stealing her away. Bethany, I'm going to clip this and just send it to you. I'm looking at stealing her away from her job at some point relatively soon, and have a full-time person to do client outreach, to do scheduling, to do all of the back end little things for the business that I can then focus on the creative. And she can do outreach, she can do client responses and all that stuff, because that's not what I am good at that stuff, but scheduling specifically is not a strong suit for me. My goal last year was to do enough to be able to afford to bring on some help, and that help to then allow me to scale the business farther than I could ever do on my own, which I'm very excited to say that has happened. I've officially added Bethany to the team here, and she will be starting full-time in the next few weeks. I really believe that it's very important to, not only as a person individually, but also especially as a business owner, to look back on what you've been doing and analyze what has worked to get you closer to your goals and what has definitely not worked to get you closer to your goals or be a better person. I definitely have worked myself into the ground the past couple years, several different times, and everyone involved has suffered because of it. Myself, my family, my clients, and most of all, the delivery times that I can get projects done in have just been pushed farther and farther because I'm always doing 100 other things. Another really big thing that happened in 2024 was the launch of our new LEB TV channel, and also then eventually taking over another whole business called Jacket Nation Sports. For anyone that doesn't know, that is a sports live streaming channel of our local team's sports. We are very excited to not only continue the awesome stuff that JNS was doing previously, but also adding in and adding to the production in every way that we can to make it more an awesome viewing experience for you at home, but also a great way for the players to actually go back and watch their games, and the coaches to be able to relive those moments in their careers. How awesome is that, to be able to look back? I wish that I had that back in the day. This year was kind of tough because we had to take over the business in an unfortunate sort of series of events, and we essentially have to make it through this school year while learning on the fly so that we can really, really ramp it up and do what we want to next year when we have all the funding available and all of the resources that we can and time to learn it all. We're looking forward to that. And we're still trying to figure out all the best ways to do things and how we can best elevate everything. But it's been a very, very fun, exciting challenge. And I'm really looking forward to what we can do as we progress and push farther into next year. 2024 was a great year in a lot of ways. I've gotten to be involved in projects at a scale that I never thought I would be able to. I've been able to continue to meet new people, capture some of the coolest photos I've ever gotten, pull off some of the most incredible video work that I'm super proud of. And most importantly, I've gotten to do what I love and improve at it for another year and to be successful at that. Looking ahead to 2025, I really want to put more emphasis on not only scaling my businesses, I guess, and the projects we're able to take on, but also spend more time on the personal branding side of it. This podcast, a new YouTube channel that's coming, in-person learning that I get to help spread knowledge to other people to help them be successful. These are things that I genuinely just make me happy to be creating and sharing, and I always end up having to put them on the back burner to do other work. I'm prioritizing making things that actually make me creatively fulfilled, and we are starting with that today with this. That's going to be it for this episode of the Suino Creative Podcast. Look for more coming soon, some with guests and interviews, some with groups of people talking about a subject, and some are going to be solo episodes like this one, where I talk about a certain topic that pertains to photo, video, creativity, business, any or all of those all in one. If there's anything that's from me as a person, a human being at the end of this episode that I could suggest, it would be take a moment, reflect, look in, look internal, look external, look all around, see what you want, see what you love, see what you don't like, and choose a path forward rather than just letting life happen to you. A lot of times we get so wrapped up in the day-to-day things, and I'm as guilty of this myself as anybody else could be. We all get wrapped up in all the things that are happening or not happening, or you're worried about this happened. Life happens all the time. If we don't just get it in our head that we are going to make life what we want, then it will never happen. Very, very, very rarely in your life will your life fall into place with no effort, with no internal conflict, not having to work through problems. Very rarely does that ever happen. More often than not, you have to decide on a direction and then go in that direction. If you guys have any questions for me that I could help you with pertaining to any of these topics, or you just want my opinion on it, leave it down below. Let me know. Shoot me a message. Shoot me a comment. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.